All right, I'm here with Leland. He's been done this great project here. He's gone through all of Ryan's Mammoth collection, which I just think is an amazing undertaking. Leland is originally from Massachusetts, and we're going to talk to him today about that project. It's just such a cool thing. First, we're going to dive into what got you started listening to traditional music when you were younger.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. So I originally started playing fiddle music when I was almost 6 years old. My grandfather, whose family is from Quebec, he was a fiddle player, and he unfortunately passed away before I even knew him. But because of his tradition and his approach to traditional music and fiddle playing, my father had me start taking lessons from a lady in town, and before you know it, I just kind of stuck with it and kept going from there. There was a small fiddle group I played with during my middle school and high school years out in Western Massachusetts, and a couple of camps I would go to in Canada and Maine. And so it's been kind of from there, I've been picking up a lot of different traditional Irish and Scottish and Canadian styles and New England styles from there.
Cool. So let's go back immediately. I picked up on something about your grandfather played Quebec music. Did he played traditional music up there? Did he?
Well, I only know that he would play at some of the local stuff around in Western Mass. I don't know how much he actually played up back in Quebecois after he learned from that. I know that's just our family background.
So then, what first got you into the Ryan's collection? When did you first hear about that? What was your interest level in that like?
Yeah, so I've actually had, so I have my copy here of the Melbay's publication of Ryan's Mammoth Collect. I got a lot of notes in it now. You get a lot of tabbed pages with some tunes I really liked in there. But I've had that book for quite a while, like since I was maybe, you know, 13 or 14. I think I actually won it in a fiddle contest. It was like, every contestant got entered in a raffle, and I got that music book right there.
Oh, cool.
So it was, kind of the thing. I wasn't really into sight reading much at the time, and it was just big book full of 1,050 fiddle tunes. And I think maybe I flipped through it once or twice to like just find tunes that I already knew. It's like, let's see what they look like written out. More of like a self-comforting type of thing.
Mhm.
But over the years, there were a couple of different fiddle players that I would listen to, and of course, I come from a background where you pick up tunes by listening to other people. As I hear, a fiddler playing a tune and like, that's a really great tune. I want to learn that tune. What's the name of that? Where did you get it from? And one fiddle player, Troy McGilvery from up in Cape Breton, he had this really great rockin' tune called Ostinelli's Reel. And I asked him once, like, Troy, where's that tune from? And he's like, oh, I think it's out of Ryan's. And it's
Mhm.
like, wait, oh, I have that book, but I never play. I of course never found that tune in there. I'm not going to
Mhm.
dig through and find all the individual tunes.
Mhm.
And I think this happened once or twice more, where I asked them, oh, that's a great tune. Where you get it from? And they say, oh yeah, I think it's in Ryan's Mammoth collection, or Cole's 1,000 Fiddle Tunes was the other one. And of course, Patrick Sky does a great write up in his forward in the Mill Bay book, where it turns out Cole's actually was Ryan's. I got to the point where it's like, okay, so I have this book. of fiddle tunes that I know there are some good ones in there. I've heard other fiddle players playing through them and finding them. And there was a couple of other projects ongoing at the time when I was thinking about starting this around 2016, 2017, of some other fiddler players who were doing like a tune a day on YouTube type of thing. And they were kind of, just choosing a favorite tune, I think, or something that inspired them that day of what tune to play. And I was thinking, well, it'd be cool to do something similar to that, but maybe make it a little bit different. And then meshing that with, I have this book of tunes that I've been wanting to just play some of the tunes to see if I can find some good gems in there. So that's where this project was kind of born from. Like, all right, let's do a tune a day, or try to. I was good at it for a while, and then there were a couple of breaks here and there. But yeah, let's just get through the collection. Let's play them one by one, and then maybe I'll find some really good tunes along the way.
Now, to me, there's a big jump between, oh, I like a few tunes in here, to I'm going to play through 1,050 tunes, and a bunch of really diverse kind of tunes. They're not just all reels. There are a bunch of different kinds of selections in there. And you have background chords that you have to do for all of them. I'm assuming you did them all. Was there a point when you were like, I'm doing this, it's going to happen, I'm going to get through all these? And then were there points that like you got frustrated? I mean, you said you took a break, which I don't blame you for at all. I would have took several breaks, I'm sure. Was there a point that you're like, okay, I'm really going to make it, I'm going to get through all these? And were there points where you're like, screw this, I'm not going to do this anymore?
I mean, I don't ever think there was a point where I was like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. There definitely was like a ramp up to it where I think I played through the first 10 or so to see like, okay, if I put myself at a pace of like one a day, can I really do this? Like, am I going to just be totally lost? Am I just going to be totally dwarfed by the, technological aspects of it? So I made sure ahead of time, like, okay, does my webcam seem to be working okay? Can I get decent-ish sound qualities from, I think my first, yeah, it's just recording from my bedroom. I've been sharing apartments with roommates. It's like, okay, I gotta tell them to turn the TV down a bit. I was taking notes at the time of like what kind of uh, commitment this would be. So I did test it out a bit first. So it wasn't like I jumped into it, then realized kind of what the commitment would be like. So
Mm-hmm.
I definitely did try to give it some forethought, even though there are still maybe a couple of things I would do differently if I were to do it all over again, which thankfully I don't need to.
Mm. It worked perfectly for that bedroom setup. I mean, your sound is good, your playing is crisp, the backup is nice. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it. And it was that way since, your first video from what I see. So
Thank you.
yeah, just all around. I got nothing bad to say about this project at all. And I'm thinking that you won't really know how much help you've been to people for a while. That's what I'm kind of thinking, is that it'll take a while for it to get out. I mean, I see people comment here and there on your posts, but I don't get the feeling that people understand fully what a help you've just done to everybody, especially fiddlers who are looking at old sources of traditional music, whether it be where I am in the upper Midwest or whether it be where you are on the East Coast. And Ryan's is really a perfect collection for Northeast music. I mean, really, that's probably where a lot of it stems from, coming down the pike there. So
Yeah, I think there's a really interesting etymology with some of the tunes that are in there. Because I found a couple of examples where there's a tune I start playing. It's like, I've definitely heard this somewhere before. Like, who have I heard play it before? And I realize it's a tune popular up in Cape Breton. And
mm-hmm,
like some of those Cape Breton fiddle players have played it and recorded it. And there's definitely instances of Cape Breton fiddle players coming down to the Boston area, grabbing a
mm-hmm.
bunch of tunes, and then taking them back up to Cape Breton and popularizing them up there. So it's like there's these tunes that even though nobody plays them around New England anymore, they found a new life of their own, up at Cape Breton. So I'd be really interested to, see like how many have migrated west as well or south.
Right. And I know that pipeline that you're talking about from Cape Breton to the Northeast has always been a very popular pipeline for fiddlers trading tunes and stuff like that. In the Midwest here, the most interesting thing that I found about it is that I have an old. I was going to have it with me, but I don't. But I have this old tune book from 1930 that these dudes up in Superior, Wisconsin, which is up on Lake Superior, they had their own tunes in there. It's a handwritten tune book. This thing is mammoth. It's just it's a big collection, and they took the time to handwrite out note for note all these Ryan's tunes in there. Maybe couple hundred, 500, I don't know how many. But they took the time to write out many of these, all meticulously handwritten out, note for note. And I'm like, damn, they are really committed to this. That alone had to take, not just playing them, that alone had to take a good amount of time. So they're definitely playing them up in Superior in the 1920s. So, and then we have accounts of fiddlers down here like Iva Dingwall. She played some tunes that were note for note out of there too, back in one of the earliest fiddle recordings for us, which was the 40s. We didn't have too many fiddle recordings before that, and she says she was playing her tunes that her father played, so that puts them back in the 1800s. So there are these connections to definitely to Ryan's Mammoth collection that are here in the Midwest too. How far they made their way out west, I don't know, but I'm assuming that either Ryan's or Cole's, got their way around here a lot. You've done this whole collection now. How do you think it's influenced you as like a musician and a person? Because we're talking about a huge time commitment, a huge just doing something for the love of something. I mean, maybe you were making money out of it, but it seemed like it was just for the love of it. So why don't you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, no, I don't monetize the videos or anything like that. Um, it's really like I do think I've grown as a musician. I think there's a lot to be said when you're a practicing musician where once you're out of school or university, if you're more like classically trained or you have a background like that, they say you have to find ways to keep developing yourself, to keep pushing yourself musically, and you have to keep yourself honed as a musician other than just performing. And it's a matter of like finding practice that works for you. And in a way, I think this was practice that really worked for me.
Mm-hmm.
um, I definitely became a better sight reader because of it. Being forced to sight read over 1,000 different tunes. Many of them I don't know. Some of them I'm still not great at reading, above the high A on the treble clef. My piano playing too, I think, has gotten a bit better over the years. If anything, I would, like to go back to some of those earlier ones and maybe re-record the piano parts.
Mm-hmm. Your backup's real nice. That backup piano was real nice. I was like, that was kind of a treat unto itself. I thought it was real nice.
On that subject, I also do have the unaccompanied versions for all the tunes. I thought it would be a good tool for people like me who are learning to accompany. Sometimes we don't have a lot of resources or tracks that we can practice with in the background. So I thought it'd be a great tool for anyone who wants to try to develop their accompaniment style further to just have all these videos with just the fiddle playing.
Nice. And that's just more work to separate that all out. So that's cool that you did that. What are your plans for using this collection in the future? I mean, do you plan on playing these tunes out at dances? Do you plan on playing them in shows? How do you plan on memorizing a bunch? What's your plan for this collection now that you've kind of gone through it and have a pretty good grasp on it? From what I can tell, I mean, you're playing tunes real solid. So.
Yeah, there's definitely tunes I've permanently added to my repertoire now. So I do have some, I'm working on various gigs around the Boston area here and there. I do a lot of sessions as well. So I'm trying to instill some of these tunes into the local session scenes and hopefully make them more popular there.
Mm-hmm.
I do have an album that I worked on recently, and I have several of the tunes have made its way onto there.
Nice.
So
Tell us right now where we can find that album.
yeah, so it's available right now for pre-order through Bandcamp, tuneswithleland.bandcamp.com, or you can find it through my website, tuneswithleland.com. And the digital version of that drops in July of this year. I would like to put more tags and more refinement on the collection. Like, it would be great, I think, if you were looking for, say, reels and A, just find a way to pull all of those up at once rather than go through like every video.
Yeah, I mean, I like that you have that in mind, because not only did you did this, but you made it fairly user friendly. That's the great thing. And it's part of my work, especially in the Upper Midwest here, to make sure that these stuffy collections that are fairly academic are actually used by real people. And you've done this in just a regular, just wonderful way. Over the course of how many ever years you've been at this. So
I was looking back at I started it in 2017.
2017, so we're 2022, so 5 years. Dang, that's a long time, my friend. um what were a few of your favorite tunes in the collection, or stories behind them, or ones that really caught your eye? What can you tell me?
Yeah, there's one that comes directly to mind is this great tune called "The White Star." In Ryan's, it's actually written in the key of G major, and it's got a really funny jump to it where you have to hit some of those octave G notes. And I was like, what is going on with this tune? This sounds really just quirky. Am I sure I'm playing this right? And so sometimes what I'll do when there's a tune that I'm really not sure about, I'll Google it to see what other people have done with the tune. And sometimes you don't find anything because no one else
Mm-hmm.
has really like recorded this tune before.
Mm-hmm.
But this one I happened to be lucky, and there was a video of a woman, and unfortunately I can no longer remember the details of this video, and I've tried to find it since and cannot find it. But it's this woman playing on the fiddle version of this tune at the Irish Embassy in New York. I remember the location.
Mm-hmm.
And she's playing the White Star, and she's playing in A major.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, oh, that makes so much more sense because then like that octave is no longer funky, and like it just sounded incredible in A major. And so all right, I have a bit better in my head, and I did record it in G major in its track there,
Mm-hmm.
just to keep true to the collection. But
Mm-hmm.
I've tried to spread around this A major version to my various folk music friends around the area. So that's a tune I definitely want to see more popularized, but perhaps it should be permanently popularized in the key of A major. Hey everyone, it's Leland, and I'm playing through some more of Ryan's Mammoth collection. This is the 313th tune in the collection, The White Star.
Yeah, and you bring up a perfect example of how music should be a living, breathing thing. We're not going to exactly replicate a book from the 1800s. We're going to put our own things to it. Like that's, even though I believe in traditional music, I also believe that, it changes. It's never just, it stays one way and it always is. Well, if it's in a book, it kind of stays one way, but then it's up to modern players to put their own, spin on it, their own feel of it. And that's the thing that I really like to get across to the youngsters, is that it doesn't have to stay in these stodgy old books, and stay in academic land. You can come out and actually put your own spin on it and play it however you want to. Anything else you want to share with us today that you found interesting about the collection, or that we haven't gotten to yet?
I guess one just interesting thing is I have a newfound appreciation for hornpipes.
Yeah.
I think that's one part of the collection that was a real slog at times with some of those really tricky, notey B flat hornpipes. But I think, there's definitely some good ones in there. And I encourage anyone who's skeptical of hornpipes to give a few of them a try,
Mm-hmm.
because I certainly came out of that with a greater appreciation for them in general.
Hey everyone, it's Leland, and I'm playing through some more of Ryan's Mammoth collection. This is the 717th tune in the collection, Jimmy Lynn's Hornpipe. I've heard this one played as a reel by several different Cape Breton fiddlers, but I don't think I'm quite ready for that speed yet, so we'll just have the hornpipe here.
In my world, when I'm doing Norwegian American music, we have polkas, schottisches, and waltzes. And I've come to think of the schottisch much like a hornpipe, with the dotted notes and basically the same speed that they are. It's like the Irish version of a schottisch, basically, is what I've kind of noticed in my world.
Yeah, I'm actually it's an interesting point. I don't think any schottisches. Plenty of strathspeys, Highland flings, walkarounds,
Yeah.
but no schottisches.
I don't I don't think the Norwegian Scandinavian music made it into Ryan's, unfortunately. Thank you a bunch for taking time out today. It's been great to talk with you. I've been watching from my YouTube seat for these years, and I was like, someday I'm going to talk to this dude about what a Ryan's Mammoth collection is. Right, what a mammoth undertaking this is. And I just appreciate the heck out of you for doing it and sharing so freely with the people and making it really come alive.
Thanks, Mike, and I appreciate how you have this platform to help spread the word and reach out to other musicians as well, because we need what you do as well to help spread the word.
I was so amazed that you finished the 1,050 tunes, and it's just like there was no fanfare at all. You're basically like, oh yep, this is the last tune, we're done. I was like, all right, man, we gotta at least have this dude on this show to talk about it a little bit, So has anybody reached out to you? Anybody else reached out for you for interviews or anything like that?
You're the first.
Oh, I'm the first. See,
yeah.
I'm going to set a trend. People are going to be like, yeah, that dude reached out, but he's a bad interviewer. So now the big guys are going to come in and interview you. You'll be on David Letterman. No, David Letterman's not around. That's how old I am. You'll be on Jimmy Kimmel or something sometime soon. All right. Thank you, Leland. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mike.